Good morning. Today I am coming to you from ISHI 30. My name is Ann McFettridge, and I have the privilege of interviewing another one of our ISHI ambassadors. Today we're talking with Allison, and Allison is going to be sharing with us some of her experiences being a PhD student and balancing having a 4-month-old at home. So we're thrilled to have you here. Welcome. Can you give us a little bit of background about where you're from and how you got into forensics and a little bit about your research?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here again at ISHI. This is my second year attending, and I'm so excited for everyone to start arriving for their welcome reception. So I actually didn't have the most straightforward path into forensics. I actually started out in an undergraduate degree in animal science biotechnology. So I was working with genetics there, but more so on the reproduction side of beef cattle, with the potential of moving the research forward to help women with infertility. And working with the beef cattle was loved animals, loved what I was doing, but quickly realized farmers just didn't have access to the research we were publishing, so we weren't making a real impact and being helpful to the general community my research was supposed to affect. And when I received my National Science Foundation Bridge the Doctorate Program fellowship to pick a master's program, I started looking into what research did I feel was really impactful, that I would make a difference in people's lives and be helping people, and that became very important to me. And I stumbled across Oklahoma State University Forensic Science program, and they had a wonderful genetics focus in there, and started working with them and learning more about the forensic science community, and it really just became a big family. I feel like everyone is so supportive of each other and getting new people involved and making sure that you're really taking care of yourself while trying to help, the individuals in the community and the victims that need it for the casework that they're working on. So after I finished up my master's, I decided that I really wanted to keep learning, and I wanted to bring, new research to the field that could help solve more cases, and found Dr. Bruce Bedoli's lab at the University of North Texas Health Science Center, and was lucky enough to get a position there and have been working with him. And it's just, once again, such a supportive community that I've never regretted the choice at all. I'm excited to be here and keep working towards, the forensic science industry and helping people.
Excellent. Well, we're really glad that you're with us here. Absolutely. So you are in your fourth year. So what are you hoping to do after you finish your degree?
That's a hard one. You get that question a lot in your PhD and when you're going to graduate, and you're like, I don't have a straightforward answer. If I got to make my dream job position, I would be in a crime lab helping them bring massively parallel sequencing online and teaching analysts how to do the data analysis side of it and stay pretty computer heavy instead of bench work. But right now, that sort of job to help a bigger lab do that just really doesn't exist. We obviously have some labs that are moving forward there, but no one's quite at that point, or if they are, they already have a specialist that's doing that for them. Realistically right now, I think most likely I'll try to get a postdoc somewhere and keep working on my computer programming, biostatistics, and data analysis. Ever since I'm not formally trained in those things, some extra year experience there would be great. And then hopefully after 2 years in some sort of postdoc, we'll look back at the industry and see if we're getting more NPS into crime labs.
I think you're getting really close with that, right?
Yes.
I mean, I've been to a few of these conferences in the last couple of years, and a lot of the poster submissions, a lot of the oral presentation submissions all revolve around MPS.
Yes,
so I think if you had tried this maybe 5 years ago, I would have said, oh, honey, maybe not so much. But I think you're going to see some doors opening over the coming years that
I think so too.
will give you those opportunities. So what made you want to be an ISHI ambassador? I mean, we're so grateful to have you, but what was it about it that appealed to you?
Last year, I loved the conference. Conferences for researchers, time to, kind of reconnect with the industry you're in and get re-inspired to go back home and work. And what's so unique about this conference is it really does have a lot of DNA analysts. So I was able to have so many conversations last year of people working day to day in a crime lab that could give me feedback about what they thought my research project could do for them, or what else they needed to know. Because I was talking about the microfloc swabs from Copan last year, and there were a lot of labs very interested in possibly using them. but they needed a little bit more than what my project had provided to be able to do that. And when y'all sent out information for ISHI ambassadors, one, it gives me the opportunity to come back to the conference again. And two, I have really been working on science communication and talking about what I do for data analysis and what my thesis project is on Twitter. And it was just the perfect opportunity to expand my reach as a science communication person, and also help y'all out, help me out, and get to meet new people.
Excellent. Well, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yes.
And I have to agree with you that this conference is one of the most collaborative and interactive. I mean, people seek each other out. They want feedback on what they're working on. They're willing to share what's working for them. I've been to other conferences in the life sciences, and the vibe is very different. I mean, it's all dedicated to improving science, but it's much different than what you experience here. So we're really glad that you could join us, and I'm excited to see what the week brings for you. So. Was there anything in particular that inspired you into forensic sciences? I know you mentioned wanting to have your work be impactful, but was there something beyond that that kind of drew you in?
Well, the impactful, yes, but I also, there's always been something interesting about forensic science to me. I'm a first-generation college student, but I do have an uncle that's a forensic toxicologist.
Oh, okay.
So I heard a little bit about crime labs and had toured
Right.
crime labs as a kid, and it was always just very intriguing. And I mean, as the general public has a fascination in serial killers or criminal cases and CSI, I grew up in a time where CSI was huge. So it was also that
absolutely.
question, why, and kind of the glamour that went behind it. But once I really got to know what was going on, it still really came back to that. If I'm going to spend my 40 plus hours a week, especially as a grad student in a lab, I want to produce something that people can use and use in the next couple of years. And forensic science provided that for me.
Good for you. Excellent. So you have a young son, 4 months old, AJ.
Yes.
Right? And so I'm really curious as to how you are juggling, the stress and the pressure of being a new mom and somebody who's, closing in on, I've got to wrap up my doctorate.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been interesting. So I actually had my research proposal defense right before he was due. I ended up on bed rest the week and a half leading up to, and my research proposal defense was at 37 weeks pregnant, and they finally let me off bed rest with preterm labor symptoms. And luckily, my lab and committee and Dr. Badoli and Dr. Warner have been very, very supportive, because if they hadn't have been, I don't know how I would be doing this right now. It would have been hard to stay in the program and really get work done. But they were wonderful, encouraged me to not work and take time for myself when I needed it. And then I did some work over maternity leave, obviously, trying to get ready to apply for ISHI and get my abstract in and apply for the ISHI ambassador. But all our faculty and staff have helped along the way. I do not think I have any sort of good balance right now as a 4-month-old. As you know, my son has had some health issues, so trying to get back to work and balance his health issues and seeing doctors, it's been difficult, but I think we're finally starting to level out. And I came back from maternity leave at 8 weeks by choice because I wanted to be back at work. I love my job. But once again, being at work, I have, our lab manager and our technicians asking me, how's your son? Do you need to go check on him at daycare? Is everything good? And just checking in to make sure I'm fine. So we'll see how that balance keeps going as he gets older and we move forward. But it's been a big learning experience.
Absolutely. It's funny that you say this. You're talking about the support that the people within the lab, coming down from, your boss, Dr. Badoli, and so forth. When I was talking to the other ambassadors, that came through as well. I mean, it's clearly a culture of support, and we're in this together, and we want you to do well as a student. It's important to us to see you succeed. And again, I'm just, contrasting that with what I experienced in the academic world myself a gazillion gazillion years ago, and I'm thrilled to see that things have changed to some extent for you guys. So I'm really happy to hear that, and I continue to hope that your son's health issues get better as well. So let's talk about superpowers, because, hey, don't we all want one, right? So if you could have one, what would it be?
This is always, it's hard to pick one, but I am such an animal person and love animals so much. The ability to talk with the animals I work with always seems to be the final decision on that. I love my dogs and the dogs I rescue, and it would make life a lot easier sometimes if I could have a conversation and ask them what they need, or ask them if they like the potential adopter I just introduced them to, and not be guessing.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. I have a golden retriever, so I totally get it. I often wonder what's going on in his head, so having some insight into that would be fantastic. So, if you could describe what your perfect day would be like, what kinds of things are you going to be doing? Who are you going to be with? Are you busy? Are you lounging? Are you sleeping because you're a new mom? What's a perfect day look like to you?
Perfect day going outside of work, because I could give you versions of work and a day off. I'm a huge outdoors person, so the perfect day would be getting up with my husband and my son and our dogs and going out for a hike and just getting out and exploring for the day, maybe going kayaking. There would probably be coffee involved with that, and just being outside and enjoying our time together.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I feel the same way. So I know you're still young, but there are next generation of scientists, out there. So what are your hopes for the next generation of female scientists that are thinking about a forensics career, whether it's studying academics or wanting to move into the lab? What do you hope for them?
I hope that they don't have to fight as hard as I did to prove themselves worthy of a position. I work with a lot of elementary, high school age students. When I was still in Oklahoma, I did a lot of mentoring with undergrads. And going into graduate work, you still come out with this feeling. The imposter syndrome is true for everyone, male or female. But I feel like females, we have a lot harder time finding female professors to support us. I've been very blessed with male professors that are super supportive of female scientists. But there's something to be said for finding that female mentor that can help pull you up when you need it and tell you that you do deserve, where you are and what you're doing, and that you can finish your program. And I hope that the generation that I'm in right now is able to step into those leadership roles and then reach down and keep helping the people that are moving up and provide that extra support that we just have not had currently.
Yeah, no, I can easily see you doing that. So I've been so impressed with talking with you and so forth, but you can see the passion in your eyes, and I think, if you are teaching, students will respond to that, and women will come to you and say, help me do this. So
I appreciate that.
You.
I hope I can be that way.
Oh, absolutely. I see that, most definitely. So in many fields, being a mother creates that extra challenge when you're trying to strive for career advancement. So you've kind of hinted a little bit at that, but have you found that to be the case in your situation? If you haven't, have you seen it, and do you still have some advice for folks out there that are trying to balance motherhood and their careers?
I mean, right now I've been lucky enough not to have to deal with it, but obviously that's a little bit of a concern, a year, 2 years out from applying to jobs, because it's still a big issue. Sure. People, even if they can't ask you if you have kids and you don't mention it, I've had female friends that have had to take wedding rings off for job interviews before, because they had so many interviews, and the impression kept coming across that they felt like they wouldn't stay long term, or if they were there long term, that they would be out for maternity leave. So there's obviously still a lot to be done in America to make sure that, realizing taking 8 to 12 weeks off for maternity leave isn't a long time, and it really isn't going to affect a woman's job performance.
Exactly.
But luckily I haven't had to do it, but I'm very open now, after having a lot of different bosses through undergrad and masters, about the type of work and environment I want to be in. And I've luckily had the privilege to be a little picky about where I work and finding a place that's a good fit. So personally, I wouldn't want to work for a company that I had to hide that I had a family, and a family that I want to spend time with from them. But I know sometimes you don't have any choices when you're trying to get a job and support your family. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, the forensic science community in general has been very supportive. So I'm hoping to not have any issues with that when we move forward after my PhD.
Yeah, I hope so too. So if you were going to start over, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Maybe not have taken the 2 years for the master's, get out in the workforce a little bit faster, but not because the master's was bad. I needed the time to figure out what I really wanted to do, switching from a completely different background in animal science. But besides that, no, I've had a really good opportunity to do research now for almost a decade. And I've been exposed to everything, even the bad situations. I learned from them and was able to find myself the perfect spot to work for my PhD. And I feel like if I changed too much of that, then I wouldn't have had the opportunity to work with Dr. Badoli, which has just been amazing. So
it's funny how the universe helps things just kind of fall into place.
Yes.
I often tell my 18-year-old son, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, you really are.
And you have to keep that in mind, especially when you're filled with doubt. Just hang on, right? Hold on tight and just see what unfolds.
Yep.
Good for you. So thinking in terms of careers, what words of wisdom would you offer to a young woman who's considering entering the field of forensics and studying it, perhaps pursuing a PhD?
Most of the time, I tell them, first and foremost, you need to take care of yourself. If you realize at some point this isn't the right field for you, you can't handle the pressure, the cases you're hearing about, there is no shame in saying this isn't a fit for me and going to do something else. You, as yourself, come first. You need to take care of you. If you're not taking care of you, you're not going to do your job well. So I just really want them to realize, I feel like there's a lot of shame that goes with, not finishing a graduate program, and there's no reason to be shameful of that. You made it so much farther than anyone else did. If it's not a good fit, take a step back and let's find another good fit. If they're, working through their PhD, at some point they're going to think they lost their mind, even if they love what they're doing, and wonder why in the world that was ever a decision. And at that point, the support goes back to what you just said, is you are in the spot that you are supposed to be right now. Focus on what your goal was. That, for me, wanting to help people and learn and really understand where our industry is and move us forward, you have to hold on to that when times get rough in your graduate programs. During the application process, you can feel very down looking at their requirements and worry like if you're going to get in. And at that point, all I can say is you have to try. You have to take that step forward and that leap of faith and just see what happens. And most likely, if you fail, no one's going to remember, especially in applying to grad schools. They're not going to look back and see that. They'll see when you succeeded, and that's what people are going to notice when you start moving forward in grad school.
Absolutely. That's good advice. So if you could be anything else, what career would you have?
I would probably go be a dog trainer or switch back over to something cattle, horse related. I love animals, and I know that working on a cattle farm, I did it. I managed over 1,000 head of cattle for almost a year for a ranch, and my body does not hold up to that work well. But if I could work with some cattle and horses and keep training dogs, I worked narcotics and explosive dogs for a while. If I could go back to training them, that's probably what I would do if the whole forensic genetics thing didn't work out. But I have faith that that will work out after my PhD. So we'll keep rescuing dogs on the side and keep training them as my side hobby and keep my animal connection that way.
Absolutely. Good for you. Well, I've just got to say, I'm in total awe of you and all the other ambassadors that I've met so far. I wish I had half the wisdom that you gals have at your age. It took me lots of years to learn some of these lessons that you seem to have a real good hold on. So kudos to you. I wish you the best of luck. I'm excited to see what this week brings for you. I'm excited to see what your future brings for you. And I'm predicting it now. You're going to be one of the rock stars of forensics. So thanks for spending the time with me, Allison.
Thank you very much. It was great talking with you.
Awesome. Thanks.